Hello students, this is your instructor for ME 2535. I'm making this video to show you how to gain maximum points in your week 3 discussion and understand the questions and the rubrics to gain maximum points. So make sure you first follow the video presented before you look at your questions, just to make sure you establish the grounds of what am I coding for. The scenario presented here is a question coming from Evaluation and Management Coding in your CPT book, and they have already given you the code ranges here. All you have to do is to find these code ranges in your coding guidelines within the CPT book and read everything about it before you finalize your code according to the patient status given here. Either the patient is a new patient or established patient, or according to the age of the patient given and posted in individual codes here. Okay, how do I find the code range? I will go to my CPT book and look up on top of each page. Each CPT code page has a code range given to you, which gives you or makes it easier for you to find the code ranges. So make sure you follow them. Again, our main discussion prompts. Go back. So just a quick review, we'll do a quick review with the scenario given. The patient is a 10-year-old, and I've highlighted the key points. The age of the patient, right? Established patient status of the patient is the established or new, depending upon what's given to you. We have established patient, he is 10 years old. He's here for well child, so that's why I'm going to do preventative medicine. Preventative medicine can also be taken as a routine physical examination, well child visit, adult check. Any of these things are considered to be preventative medicine. The patient was also counseled. This is a key point for us to remember, and we have to read the coding guidelines to understand if I have 2 codes or 1 code for the scenario. Okay, because when you do additional counseling, sometimes there can be an additional code, sometimes it is included within the same code. That is your judgment, that is your homework to make sure you read the guidelines well and understand the scenario. So this is the scenario presented for you. Now we come to the questions, and the questions again are divided into step 2 and step 3. Step 2 is your main discussion prompts, and remember, these are the questions that you are answering to me by reading the book, by finding the coding guidelines, by giving me all the details of the scenario as to how you found the codes and what are the details. Step 2 says answer all 3 parts. So that doesn't mean that you only have 3 questions, because some of these questions may be divided into 2 questions each. So these 3 questions are actually divided into 5 questions. Number 1 says steps you would take to find the correct code. It's just 1 question, but remember there are different steps. You want to make sure you tell me all the details of how to find the code in the book. That doesn't mean just that you go to the tabular list directly. No, you always go to the index first, and then the tabular, and then you read the guidelines, and then you confirm the code. So make sure you are giving me all that information as per your understanding. Question number 2 says procedure code. Assign the procedure code, explain why you chose the code. Remember, we just discussed as to why you would choose a code, depending upon the keywords, and the keywords are the status and the age of the patient. So you want to read the guidelines and understand how I am selecting those codes and give me that information. You are going to teach me through these questions how to find a code for evaluation management. Think of yourself as a teacher and think of me as a student, and you're telling me who does not know anything, you are giving me as much information to explain things to me. Question number 3 is the same way. You are giving me the guidelines now, explaining me the guidelines of why you chose the code. And remember, it says explain, so that's the second question. So you may want to make sure you are catching up on these tiny hidden words here and there that is asking you an extra question. Now remember, when we grade you, we go upon certain understanding. Have you applied and connected to me in explaining me your understanding of the subject, of the coding, of the entire thing that you need to know in order to give me all the answers? So if you go down to the second level, which is we're going downwards and losing points, you did share, you did explain to me your information. Sharing means you gave me some of your information, some of your understanding, but you did not apply the knowledge, the academic, and the basic information of E&M coding. So this shows you how you get points. Meets all, meets most, meets few, meets no. Meets all means you answered all questions. If you missed any questions, you will go down to meet most and slowly downward as we start losing some of the questions. I've already explained to you this page. Remember, this is your preventative medicine in your CPT. This is your tabular section. Make sure you follow this to understand this whole scenario. Step 3 is when you reply to your classmates. Has to be 2 replies to 2 people at least on 2 different days. That means all your 3 posts have to be on 3 different days. Everything has to be submitted by Sunday. These 3 questions that you see here are important to include in your replies. Make sure you're including these 3 questions when you answer your classmates. Of course, your replies can also include your opinions. You agree or you disagree with them. You give them the details. You share your information. You apply your knowledge. You connect with what they're discussing and give some of your information, and you always ask questions at the end to show and generate further conversation. Okay, so make sure you're always coming back after you do your post. Make sure you always come back, and if you miss anything, add extra posts, add additional posts, because if, let's say, I did my post and I forgot to answer one question, I will go back and answer another and add another post and answer the missing question. This is your rubric for your replies. Remember, we talked about generating conversation. That means you included the questions in your step 3. You did proofreading, organization, and clarity. Proofreading and organization is basically your spelling, grammar, and your sentence writing. Clarity means, did I understand what you're writing? If I read something that does not make any sense to me, that means you're losing point on clarity. So clarity is basically having a good concept of what you wrote, and make sure you read it too, just to see if it's making sense to you or not, and if you have the correct grammar, spelling, your periods, your commas all in place, because you do lose points if any one of them is missing. Grammarly.com is a great website. If you download it, it will auto check everything for you. Quantity, just the number of replies you made. All 3 quantities are supposed to be there. Remember, 2 replies and 1 main post. Timeliness, before Sunday. If anything goes beyond that, the timeliness goes to meets no criteria. I try to explain you as much as possible, but if you have any questions, you don't understand anything, that is perfectly fine. Text me to set up a time with you, and I would love to call you back. My text number is posted all over the course pages, also on your announcements. So if you check your announcements, you will see my number posted everywhere. You can also call the academic coaching. You have a live Q&A session that you can attend. So keep in touch. Don't hesitate to reach out for any help. I will love to hear back from you soon. You have a great day.